What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over the trades we end up taking today inside the Discord, as well as the game plan going into tomorrow. So, right off open, this is what we ended up looking like, and this is what I was looking for today. So, first off, the 30-minute chart here tells us the trend in the market. We went over yesterday that the market went neutral because you can see on the put side here, this is the 30-minute chart, 675 puts for Friday. This is what we use to gauge our trend, and today was the last day we use these contracts because every week we pull up the Friday contracts, and then on that Friday we pick the next week's out because for something to gauge the trend, 0 DTs would not make sense, so we repick them on Friday and then repick them again on Monday. So there's always like a week or a couple days within expiration for these charts. So we were bearish initially. You can see we got a nice leg lower, and then we, got this weird bounce above the 50 or below the 50, got back above, and it crossed negative. When we cross negative like this, that means we are going neutral, and most likely from this negative cross, we are going to go higher. So, kind of guess, or not guess, but, the rule of thumb is kind of like the highest we could go in a neutral market is this 50 SMA. This is kind of where you could expect some sort of rejection, and then that's kind of like the decision point on, okay, are we going to flip bullish or are we going to reject the 50 and stay in our neutral range? So today, pretty much, I was kind of favoring the upside anyway, so I was looking for a long today. First things first here, this is where we opened up. So 0 DT charts kind of give us like an average up entry or just an entry in general. So if we pull up the call side, this is what we ended up looking like. So right off the open, you can see we end up gapping up a little bit, and these premiums obviously spiked a lot, and we got to pull back to the 50. This was not a dip that I was buying because we are neutral. We're not in a trending market. We're not bullish. So this is not a 50 dip I was buying, and especially when we are neutral, I kind of cater towards the fib trade. So we have the 0 DT chart to kind of average up in our trade. And also, yes, we could take a cross in a neutral market. It's just not the most probable trade, and on these trades, I sized a little bit less. So I actually did end up taking a cross because it did look pretty good. Right up in here, it was all right looking. So we ended up getting this funky looking cross. I ended up going long, I believe, on this candle open right here, and I just ended up stopping break even because there was this weird wick right in this area where on NQ, if you were watching at the time, price just like came out of nowhere and woke up, and we had a quick dip to the 50, ended up wicking up, and I just got out of break even when it wicked because I just didn't like that movement. It was very weird. I didn't know if news came out and we're just going to continue lower, so it wicked up a little bit. I just got out right around break even, and this ended up crossing negative, and we ended up going a bit lower. So that's kind of the only trade I ended up taking today. There was nothing else that we were able to get. This probably wasn't even the best trade in the world. I went lighter size on this because, again, we're in a neutral market. There's no trend, and we never ended up getting our fib level trade. So if we pull up ES here, this is what the fibs looked like. We ended up changing them today. So I went over yesterday that if we break out of the range we were in, which honestly I forget the level it was, I think it was like 1932, I believe. So if we broke above that on the 30-minute, then you change the fibs, and you can see right off of open, we ended up breaking above that. So right off of open, you can see we ended up breaking well above that 32 mark. I changed the fib so the fib isn't there anymore, but we broke well above that 32 mark. So now what you do is you drag the 100% mark is now the top. It was previously 0, and you flip it to the 0% now as the bottom. So this last low right here was the last swing low of the bear trend we had. So this becomes the new pivot low. Previously we had it at the other swing low, which was all the way down in here, whatever this was, like 67, 76 just about. So you move that now to the last swing low of the bear trend we had on the 30-minute. So that's where that fib goes. 100% mark still stays the same because this is from the last bull market. So now we are kind of in a dip buying mode at the moment in terms of the fibs. I know the premium chart isn't crossed bullish yet, but for fib wise, we are only looking to buy the dips on the fib for now. So what I was looking for today was a pullback to the 38.2, which we never ended up getting. And initially, actually no, my bad, we were looking for the 61.8, which we never got until like late in the day. So I actually didn't end up taking this. I was done for the day. We almost got our entry right here, and we just missed it by a few points. I had my limits like right at 48, so like a point above the fib level. And obviously we didn't get filled on that, and we ended up ripping like 20 points just about. So if we did dip a little bit more, this would have been a nice 20-point trade. Would have at least took some trims and then got stopped even on the rest. And we did come down into this level towards the end of the day. These end of the day trades I don't take. You know, if it's past like 3 o'clock, I'm not going to be taking this dip. It's just too late in the day for me, because sometimes, you know, for us to hold this trade for like 30 points, it's highly unlikely we're gonna get there. So there's no point really for me to take this when there's only an hour left in the day. But that was the trade I was looking for, and hopefully that makes sense on why. Because like I said, we broke out of the range we were in yesterday. We're only looking for longs like this. I wasn't looking to short the fib up in here at 69.47 like off of open. This wasn't something I was taking. I was looking for longs only today, because again, yesterday or today right off open we end up breaking out of the range. So when we break out to the upside of the range we were in yesterday, then you're only focused on dip buys. So that's pretty much your trade you want to be looking for, dip buys on the fib. And then obviously once we get like extended, you could eventually start shorting once we get really extended, like we did on the bear trend where we came all the way down here. And I told you guys, you know, we're at that 4-hour 50. We hit that bottom fib level right at, I don't even know what it was, but it's pretty much the same. I mean, we ended up bottoming right here. I think it was like 22 or 23. And that's where you could, you know, start buying against the current trend we're in when we're at that higher time frame resistance point. But yeah, that's kind of how today went. Going into tomorrow, I'm still going to be looking for longs. I mean, if we come down to 6,900, the 68.99, that's a good long to take. If we break above the 69.47 and get a retest again, then I will be looking to take this, because we did break below it here on the 30-minute, and it dropped, you know, over 10 points below it. So we're going to need a reclaim of this. So we're going to have to break above it on the 30-minute and, you know, move at least 10 points above it before we get the retest to take. So that's kind of what classifies a break of the fib level. 10 points, it goes at least 10 points above the level, and we get a closure above the 30-minute. The 30-minute closure doesn't have to be 10 points above. We just have to go at least 10 points above and get, you know, any slight closure above that 30-minute or not 30-minute, that fib level. So that's kind of what we're looking for tomorrow. And again, watch for the 30-minute chart here to see if we actually end up flipping bullish, because right now, who knows what's going to happen. I've seen this plenty of times where, you know, we close a little funky like this and it gaps up 50 turns and we flip bullish. But again, you're going to want to look out for these higher time frame 50s. Like that 1 hour doesn't look that great. Like, you know, we're going to have these higher time frame resistances up in here. Like we have 911. Geez, 911. That's crazy. That's crazy option price right there. But we have that 4 hour 50. So like, you know, there's going to be heavy resistance. Like I wouldn't expect this to rip like crazy just yet. Given this premium, I mean, we're going to be picking new ones tomorrow, so maybe those look a little bit different. But, you know, if we do have these higher time frame 50s, those are what you're going to want to look for. You know, if we line one of these 50s up with like an upper fib level, that's like a great short you could take. I mean, it's a good confluence. You have the higher time frame 50s, you get a fib level, that's a good short opportunity. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I'm going to be looking for tomorrow. Only really focus on the longs for now. If we, for some reason, drop a lot, then we pretty much would need to break this 6,900 level for us to be now shorting the rips. Like right now, I'm only focused on buying the dips. If we break below that 6,900 level, then most likely that's where we're going to be shorting the pops and only focus on shorts. So, yeah, that's the game plan for tomorrow. And I'm going to go over some individual names that I do like, because I did enter some swings. I was looking at some individual names, and when the market is hot, when the market's ripping a bit, this is where you want to be looking for breakout trades. Like when the market's bullish and we're ripping, this is the opportunity where there's a lot of good setups on individual stocks. So I'm just going to go through a couple that I have on my list. DAL, Delta Airlines, really nice looking flag here on the daily. All these setups are like the same exact looking chart. All we're doing, looking for a stock that's made a move up, gone sideways. We're looking for a high day break. Like the 5 minute, and that's what I'm going to be looking for my entry point. So there's no entry yet on this name. It's a good looking setup. It could just dump, who knows, but we break above this 71.33, today's high on the 5 minute. I will look for a long entry, and yeah, maybe we don't get it tomorrow, but this is definitely something I'm going to keep on watch. Higher time frame weekly looks pretty good. Kind of the same looking setup, and yeah, when I take these, grab like a month out expiration, month or two, and you'll be good. And when we break out of that level, you can put your stop loss, you know, at the current low of day maybe of what we're at. Like, so if we break, above this level, put your stop loss at the current low of day, or something that kind of just makes sense, maybe below like moving averages on like the 5-minute, or you could kind of give it some room to breathe, go further out expiration. It's kind of really all up to you, but I tend to go 1 to 2 months out, sometimes 3, and then put my stop loss at the current low of day. So yeah, it's kind of what we look like on DAL, Vera, VERA. This is a really nice looking one, starting to break out today. Definitely you could have entered this over this high day, I'd say, because that pretty much lines up with the trend line over this high day. Looks really good. I'm not sure what the weekly looks like. Weekly looks, saw nothing too crazy going on, but definitely a nice looking setup on the daily. Bark is actually one I'm in. There's a lot of flow in this thing I saw someone post. And then also on the daily, it's not the best looking setup in the world, but we do have this kind of like mini flag going. We broke above this high yesterday, and I did enter this today. It was not right at this level, but we pulled back a little bit. Got our entry swinging a few months out calls on this. The weekly looks really nice. I mean, this is looking to set up to break out on the weekly. If it does, we'll get a very fat move out of it. But yeah, Bark, solid name. I know this name is very crowded. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of people on Twitter are talking about it, but I can't lie. The chart does look really good. Above today's high day, really nice entry, 614. Swing some calls. This is actually the weekly. Weekly looks cracked out. Same thing with the daily. I mean, we have this massive trend line right here. Above 614, this is gonna rip. So that's definitely one to keep on watch. Plug. This broke out of this little base we had going, so if we get any sort of pullback, into these highs, I mean, you could definitely take a swing on this. Good looking name. I'm not sure what the weekly looks like. Let's see what we got here. I mean, weekly looks solid. We're breaking above this little base on the weekly as well, so this could be actually a really good setup. I'm not gonna lie. Plug, really nice name. Just need a pullback to get in. Not chasing the move today. And then run. This is kind of this is a good setup too. On the weekly, we're kind of in this flag. I mean, you could play the weekly kind of breakout on this. I mean, you could look for this high to get broken over 2016. Pull up the daily, probably the same thing. Yeah, over the daily high, you could swing a few weeks out, or not a few weeks out. I'd say like 1 to 2 months out. And yeah, all the setups are the same thing. If you couldn't really realize that, I mean, they're all the same setup. BBAI, same thing. I'd be looking to take this over 636. More aggressive entry. You could take this over. I'd probably go with this high, actually. Take it over this high day at 613, because if we break over that high, most likely we're going to run up to the trend line, and from there you're kind of in early. Maybe it'll break out, maybe it doesn't. If it rejects, you can pretty much just put your stop loss break even. So safer entry, 636. More aggressive, 613. I'll probably be waiting for that 636 though. Those are some good setups to keep an eye on rest of the week, going into next week, and some names I like for swing. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. If you guys enjoyed, drop a sub. If you guys want to learn, join the Discord down below. And yeah, I'm out. Peace.